Are we live? Are we live? I think we are now. Let's just wait for that red button. It is Mercury retrograde. So, there we are. I think we're live now. Well, hello.
And Hogarth, please tell us we're coming to the end of Mercury retrograde.
Right.
Okay. Not long. Not long. Not long.
The 6th or something, isn't it?
I mean, technically, it's the 2nd or 3rd of June, but it's going to really feel like it's sticking around for actually a bit longer because Mercury is actually standing still for quite a while. And then when Mercury goes direct, we're going to have Saturn going retrograde. So they're just basically tag teams swapping over. But hello and welcome, everyone, to the HoDiGa today. As you can see, we have the power of 4. Yes, which is remarkable. We see
I wish I could do that Vulcan thing, but I never could.
No,
I practiced
can't do it. I knew she, of course.
So jealous.
So I knew Dianne can do it because Dianne is practically, 1/4 alien anyway, aren't you? Pretty much.
And double jointed.
Oh, and exactly the double jointed as well. So,
yeah.
Indeed. So everyone is filing in.
Thank you, Light Vocation.
It's
called HoDiGa.
Oh, of course. Yes. We'll be exactly. HoDiGa. We've got lots to cover in this show. As usual, the ladies don't know what I'm going to ask, but we are going to obviously cover one of the most important topics that has happened in recently. But before we get to that, I just want to introduce everyone. So, of course, Dianne, welcome to the show. Lady G,
hello.
Welcome to the show. Always looking, cutting edge.
Sensational.
Always looking cutting edge. And of course,
I cut the hair, so no more flowers. So now it's hats.
Oh, okay.
Indeed. Yeah. She's got a very neat and tidy bob. Look at that.
Oh, look! It looks brilliant.
Look at that. So
always now it's hats.
Yes, now you've moved.
Fashionista as always, and we have Dr. Lena Rodriguez, who is guesting with us again this Saturday. Well, we're now going into Sunday. It's midnight for me. In fact, I'm now in Sunday. Lena is in Sunday, and of course, Dianne and Lady G are still in Saturday. So such is life. I don't know how many time zones it is, but we do manage it just fine. So first of all, I want to start out with some good news. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're going to have to deal with the cray, as we know, and then hopefully we can end on a higher note. So, but to bring everyone a little bit of joy, I have just come for. If you see here, look, you see my wristband. Yeah. Do you see what it says?
Is this the real deal? Did you bring it back? Oh my God.
Oh my. Okay, so for anyone that doesn't know, ABBA have come back to concerts after 40 years, over 40 years.
Stop. Oh no.
But because of course they're getting on a bit and they've worked very hard and they're not short of a penny or two, but maybe a few of the joints need a bit of oiling and lubricating these days. Yeah. So now what they've got is they have avatars performing for them.
Yeah.
I
like that.
So there is this state-of-the-art custom-made building in East London, just a few stops on the overground for me, which has got this holographic, wondrous, I don't know what it is. And literally what it is ABBA performing their voices, but physically as they were in 1979 when they stopped.
Well, you would, wouldn't you? If you had enough money, that's what you'd do.
Honestly, this is better than anything that the scalpel can achieve, because what it is, it's like they are physically back on stage. It is uncanny. It is spooky. It is extraordinary. It is one of the best things you would ever see. So It's going on, I think, for at least a year, but I think the least they have in the building is 10 years. So what I would say is,
wow.
anyone that's in the States, just come and see it. It is worth a plane ride. This is now the new standard. They're going to be able to resuscitate anyone. Yeah?
Yes,
Anyone. All this.
I would love
Let
to
me
see
share
Thomas
with
the
you
Aquarian.
guys. I did the pilgrimage when I was in Skopelos to the Mamma Mia Chapel.
Okay.
Fun.
It's
I
absolutely
went there,
huge.
and there's a tree growing, and people leave things on the tree at the Mamma Mia Chapel.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, it is astonishing. So I just come back from that, and honestly, it's one of the most incredible things I've ever seen. All around 5 stars. So if anyone gets the chance, just come. If you can just get tickets, it doesn't matter how far you're flying from. It is worth it. Absolutely incredible.
Well,
Before we
that's
start
all right
the show,
for you to say, Hogarth. I have to fly for 2 days.
even then, true, but even then, it would be worth it. So you would, you'd stay for a week in London, but honestly, it is absolutely astonishing. So just before we begin, let's talk about astrological weather to get into things so we can understand. So look, so at the moment, as we know, there's a lot going on. So from the 14th of June, 2022, actually, this is sort of happening now, but we're having Jupiter and Mars conjunct. And then we're having Venus and Ra together with Rahu and Sun and Mercury. And basically, the energies are moving again. But the big thing, we're going to have a little bit of a lull, perhaps, from around about the 19th of June up until about the 26th, 27th of June. This is when we're going to have another cray moment, folks. So I'm just letting you know. Yes. I know, as if it wasn't bad enough already. Remember, we've been having these eclipses, and the eclipses are very intense. And the last eclipse we had, it went through Libra, but it just actually reached its peak in Scorpio. Scorpio deals with what? Death, sudden shocks and surprises, traumas and stuff like that. Yeah, so they give these indicators. But on around about 26th to /27th of June 2022, we've got Mars, planet of war, Uranus, planet of sudden shocks and surprises, earthquakes and stuff like that, with Rahu, which just blows everything up. So we are in energies where it could get even more bonkers. However, it also means spirituality on planet Earth, those that are light workers, are even more powerful than we've ever been before.
Ooh.
Yes.
It's a trade-off.
More powerful than we've been before. It's the trade-off. Yeah. It's this dance between light and dark. So as much as the dark is fighting, the light is also being strengthened as well. So we can still keep hope. We have Light Vocation with us, Patricia Franzino, Sharon Saipe, Mary Ann S. Blessed your soul. Oh, I don't know.
I'd like to say hello to Paula in Australia. You've got up early on a Sunday morning. Thank you.
Fabulous. Okay, so are we ready to start the show?
Absolutely.
Yeah? All right. So, of course, we need to talk about Texas, don't we? We need to talk about Texas. If it wasn't jaw-dropping enough as it is already, hearing that there was that huge delay, some say 45 minutes, some say an hour. Either way, the kids were calling. It's hard for me to even repeat this because it's so extraordinary and it's so tragic. It's just beyond. Do you know what I mean? It's just absolutely beyond. The kids calling, help us. Parents wanting to go in themselves, being held back, and then the police stopped for either 45 minutes or some now they're saying over an hour. And I don't know, words just kind of fail me. We can obviously
and excuse me, we can't forget they handcuffed one of the mothers and they pepper sprayed one of the fathers.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Don't tell me they do that if they were white.
They
I
did.
hadn't heard that. That's horrid.
And if I can just add, 2 years ago in my hometown, during the summer, we had a summer program going on in the school, and it had from preschool to high school. And they believed that there was an active shooter in the school. And the police all got there. They came from all the towns. Now, mind you, my little town has military vehicles, okay? We have these things that look like tanks in my town, okay? I'm not even joking. We literally do. 3 hours went by, and not one policeman from any town went in. So thank God it wasn't real, but they didn't know, because this person was dangerous. He had done things to children in the past. He had a whole record, and they thought he was in the building, armed. And for 3 hours, they did nothing. And they actually blocked the parents from getting near the school. They created a barricade so the parents couldn't get near. They diverted them about a mile away to the YMCA. So I am not surprised, because this happened right. I mean, we had helicopters, we had everything. I mean, I guess he wouldn't have gotten out alive, but nobody went into that building for 3 hours.
That's terrible. I'm sorry, Hogarth, we've got a troll.
Oh, do we?
Griffin. There's a
Let's
troll in the chat.
All right. So as you guys may or may not know, I have tried many times to nominate, what is it called?
A moderator.
Oh, moderator.
But for some reason, YouTube can't do it. It won't allow me to.
It won't work.
I know, it's just one of those things. So look, if someone's here trolling, whatever, just do your best to ignore them. Don't get too
totally ignore them. Do not
we're all grown up. The world is not perfect, and there is just a lot of cray going on right now. Yeah. So look, it's intense, folks, as we know, and unfortunately there is more intensity to come. What's going on? This Pluto return, that all of us astrologers are talking about. Pluto is coming back to his original place where he was when America was effectively born. Yes, the dates are disputed as to when the official ratification of this, that, and the other, and blah, blah, blah. Yes, there are many dates which are all relevant and part of the historical canon of the United States. But the chart that is seen as the birth of America is the one in 1776, 4th of July, 6:30 p.m. Some people debate the time. This chart really works well. So if anyone wants to know a bit more about the details, I did a video recently with Linda G where I looked at the chart of the USA, I looked at the chart of the GOP and the Democrats. Yeah, and I compared all three charts. Fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. And of course, the GOP's one is just totally bonkers. Yeah.
That was a great video, by the way, that one you did with Linda.
Oh, did you see it? Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it, go and track it down. Yeah. Yeah,
it's there on my playlist. But if anyone just wants to get that real kind of in-depth why things are happening as they are rationale, maybe just watch that video. But okay, let's read. I think we should read on the NRA. I don't know if we've done it before, and apologies guys if we're repeating, but it is so significant. We know they are a massive influence, and I think just with four of us together, in light of what's happened, I want to see what we get in the future of the NRA, because we know they're fueling they're paying everyone off.
And I was astonished. There's a list out of everyone who gets NRA funding. Top of the list with $13 million was Mitt Romney from Utah.
Who's he again? Sorry, remind me.
Mormon from Utah.
Wow.
Tops the list.
Well, they like their guns in Utah. That's, it's just such my goodness. All right. Who wants to go first in terms of the NRA and what they're getting up to and all that jazz?
I'm ready. I'm good.
Perfect. Diane, go for it.
So, my cards are ominous for them. They're certainly undergoing some changes. So the first card, Knight of Wands. So the card of, like, for me, this is the card of drastic change. So things are changing with them. I don't know if you saw all the people protesting out there. Their obstacle is they're getting ready for a tower moment.
Wow.
And I know it's hard to believe, like, especially as an American, like they could have a tower moment because they're so powerful. But you have to remember, they are losing numbers, like they've never lost before. They are losing members. They're losing donations. It's not quite the same as it was a few years ago with the last administration. That's for sure. I get the card of pulling back, retreating, Four of Swords, followed by the Death card. They're going to have to go through some sort of transition or transformation. They're going to have to play ball to some degree, if they want to survive. I think this is the World card, an end of a phase for them. They're going through a new phase. One is ending. And then Five of Cups, it's one where they feel like they've lost something. The card of like depression and sorrow and grief. So, there's changes coming that they're not going to like. But I think it's inevitable. Something has to give.
Can I just jump in here? Because people in the chat are saying Mitt Romney is disputing this, and we like to keep the record straight. So Romney is disputing. He's obviously seen the same chart. He says it's only 45,000. Now, that's very different from 13 million. And so in fairness to Romney, I'll let that go, and we'll see if it's proved or not proved.
Okay.
What he's receiving. So thanks, Mike, for pointing that out. That's fair. I wonder if someone wasn't maliciously putting him as a fairly centre Republican, doing it to damage him.
Interessante. Who's next ready to go? Lady G or Lena?
I can go. I only pulled 4 cards, and 2 are major arcana, which is always interesting. It gives everything gravitas and power. They got the Magician and they got the Fool. And that about says everything, isn't it?
Pretty much.
They've had this almost magical, in a bad way, role in American society for 3 generations. Was it Charlton Heston or somebody? He was for years Mr. NRA.
Over my dead hands. Yeah, I remember that.
Exactly. Very dramatic and all of that stuff. But the Fool, several things. Yes, it would be foolish for them not to adapt in some way, but they're perfectly capable of doing that, being foolish. But it can also be a new beginning to how people regard them. I think, time has come. They live in the past, the card of nostalgia, and the Queen of Swords coming forward for their outcome card. I think this could be their legal worries. I think they're up for Chapter 11 bankruptcy or something, and yet they're still doing all this,
Wow.
So legal problems for the NRA.
Wow. I was just clicking up on the names and stuff like that, but when it's 4 on the screen, I think I'm going to have to leave it there, folks, because it was just taking a bit too long. And Lady G, what do you have for us?
Okay, well, some light is being shed on things with their, always in their thing of right to arms and the drama that they're doing, the stuff that's happening. What's coming forward is more of the hidden things, and going forward to the future, we're going to, it's going to be repressed later. But we've got a battle ahead of us still.
Yes. Shall I go? I just wanted to check that everyone is ready.
Yeah.
All right. Now, I always wanted to double check my deck because I pulled 5 cards and 4 of them are reversed. So I just literally scanned through the deck and I'm like, oh no, it is actually all right. So if we look here, what's the first card that I get? The Devil. The Devil. But also as well, it's the Devil reversed. Now, this is one of the ones. Now, as we know, the reversal card can mean the opposite of blah, blah, blah. Sometimes, but not really with the Devil. This is just really, really deep disturbance. Here we're talking about vice, not wanting to be able to let things go. You know, the chains are around the neck. And of course, we know what this vice is. In many ways, this is speaking a lot of the political situation. Think of how many people have the yoke of NRA money, shall we say, around their neck. But here, when the devil is reversed, it can literally mean like psychopathy. It can mean like literally psychopaths, people who are deeply, deeply disturbed. Yeah, badly disturbed. So, you know, obviously now look, this isn't a comment about the right to bear arms and all of that kind of stuff. I just want people to understand this isn't about gun bashing, but we're talking about some kind of sensible restraint. You know, where is it? What is the justification for someone being able to have military grade assault rifles and go into a school and just massacre children? You know, come on, like it's like, you know, it's anyway, never mind. Swords as the obstacle. But look, if we look here, normally the Six of Swords is about what, trying to move to smooth the waters, isn't it? Let me just make sure there's the Six of Swords. And look, it's coming in obstacle position and reversed. What's the situation? We can't seem to move on from this cray-cray.
Yes, yes.
There it is. That is, look, it's the devil reversed, major arcana, and in the obstacle position. Even if the card was the right way up, it would still say the same thing. But it's also reversed to say, look, why can't we move on from this utter lunacy? Look at the next card. Moon reversed. Another major arcana. The moon, as we know, when it turns up, it's not the most auspicious card anyway. Yeah, because we know it can deal with things that are hidden, things. But here, this literally does deal with mental illness, schizophrenia, you know, emotional disturbances. You know, the moon reversed is really a difficult card. So this is actually talking as well, not only about, of course, the NRA, but the people that are going out and doing this stuff. But they can't just use mental health as an excuse. You know, the moon card is applicable across the whole world. There's mental health issues across the whole world. It's just that people don't have quite the same access to, you know what, as in other places where they can just vent their spleen and just go around and massacre people. If we look here, another reversed card. Here we are, the Knight of Pentacles. But as we know, the Knight of Pentacles can also play the role of the mercenary, can't it? The mercenary. And it's almost as if the NRA are trying to arm up everyone up to the eyeballs, as many people as they can. Something like 3 million guns a month or something like that sold. We're talking astonishing stuff. Now, look, if I were to ban anything, I wouldn't actually ban guns, actually. If I could rule the world, I would ban bullets. Yeah?
Right.
Have as many guns as you want outside of your
400.
Yeah, on
400
the walls. Exactly. You know, make
And you could go around and have your photo taken with your gun and no bullets.
exactly.
Right?
You know, make
Lord.
step ladders out of the gun. You know, do whatever you want, but just no, you know, restriction on bullets. I think that would be quite interesting, wouldn't it? But look, the outcome card for the NRA is a little bit of a confusing one, because this means it's the card of victory. So what could this mean? Could it mean that despite all of this madness, all of this cray-cray, all of the strangeness and weirdness that's going on, does it mean they still come out on top in the end? And although that might sound a bit pessimistic, we also need to be realistic about just how powerful this lobby is, just how long they've been pumping money into the system, so to speak. So they have got more lives than Catwoman. Yeah, they've got more lives than Catwoman. So we will just have to see how that plays out. But what I hope is that could this be a victory as well for some sensible regulation?
Yeah.
That's how I would like to see it, and I hope it's the case. Anything to add, ladies, before we move on, or shall we just draw a line there?
Let's just move on.
Yeah.
Let's move on. Okay, so this question came in from Harry. So Harry Bunn, and
Oh, hi, Harry.
Yeah, Harry's great.
And Igor's here. Good morning, Igor.
Wonderful. So Harry was asking, and I've kind of condensed the question a little bit. Will those operating at a higher frequency and light workers in general be protected from the lower energies of the dark cabal?
Well, I hope so.
And I just thought we could kind of pull on that. Of course, no one is invincible, but it'd be nice to see what we get.
Protection for light work.
What's the energy and protection for light workers? Oh, very interesting.
Yeah, my cards are interesting.
Yeah, very interesting cards. Dianne, would you like to go? What do you have?
So first of all, I mean, let me just say, I think energy sort of seeks its own level, right? So if you have a lower vibration, you're going to end up with those who have a lower vibration. If you have a higher vibration, you'll be around people that have a higher vibration. You know, I think it's just sort of like how you see somebody and you instantly like or dislike them and you don't even know why. I think it's more their frequency than anything, you know? So it's sort of like that idea that, you know, water seeks its own level. So I just think there's kind of like a repulsion there. So I get a really stable card, probably one of the most stable cards in the deck, I would say, the Knight of Pentacles. You know, all four hooves of this horse are on the ground. He's firmly planted. He's very reliable, practical, down to earth. He's good.
Oh, I got that as well.
Did you? So some synchronicities already. And what's the obstacle? Okay, this dark energy. Here we go with the devil, right? So no surprise. But then we also get the Queen of Pentacles. And she's also very grounded.
That too. Sorry.
Did you?
Wow.
Very centered. You know?
That's the dagger. Yeah.
And then I pulled one more and I got the Queen of Cups. And I take that as most light workers are empaths. And so as the dark energy does their negativity, we oftentimes feel it, you know, because to me, the Queen of Cups is like the queen of emotions. And sometimes we do get emotional watching this. Doesn't mean we're not protected, but we do have emotions and feelings as we're watching it. So I would just say, you know, observe and don't absorb. You know?
Good mantra.
That's a good tip. Yeah, I like that. I like that. Who would like to go next, Lady G or Lena?
Lady G.
Okay, that's fine. Well, going into it, we have the moon, you know, sometimes the illusions, the fox, you know, trying to, you know, do their stuff that they do, continuing with their opportunity forward in the world. They'll continue to put out their venom, okay, venomous things, but we also have the truth, the sword of truth, which we need to hold to. And, you know, that propels us forward. In the end, we know truth is going to win out. Okay, light will win out. Now we have them still trying to get away with things. The dark has got that contract. They're not going to let that go. And you just have to look at where are you being a merchant? What are you buying into? What well are you going deep within? That's up to us. We have free will. But as long as you are, you know, in contact with the divine is with the light going forward for humanity, like I say, living in honesty, integrity, transparency, simplicity, and sacredness, you're going to be fine.
Agreed.
Okay, so Lena, what do you want for us?
Well, sharing Diane's cards, this is a more stylized deck, but it is the Knight of Pentacles, which means Pentacles are earth, meaning it's really important to be earthed when you are an empath,
Grounded, yeah.
clairvoyant, or anything. It's really, really important. So this mini reading is bookended by earth. In the meantime, we have the 10 of Cups or Tides, which is everything that water represents, our deeper emotional selves, our intuitive selves, our capacity for all of that needs to be unleashed, but with control, which is where the earth element comes in. We need it, but it can't just be left to be out there because it exposes you if you just lead with your emotions and your sensitive self. We're not meant to live in a city with 5 million people. We don't know.
Right.
We actually aren't, So it's really important to shield, to keep your personal Ace of Fire going around you in a way to both enlighten and protect. And the last card, the Queen of Gardens, or the excuse me, the Queen of Pentacles, the very practical queen. Take practical steps to protect yourself, light workers. Ground yourself and protect yourself every day so it becomes as automatic as cleaning your teeth, because there's so much fractured energy out there. Consolidate and protect. Yeah.
Yes, very, very, very wise advice. Well, the cards that I've got, looky here, the moon. There we are. And in many ways, I think this speaks volumes about the whole situation, because okay, what is the shadow of the moon? Lunatics, yeah? And it just seems like everything is so emotionally intense right now. We're just so much shadow and stuff like that. This also as well, I think, speaks to the emotional nature as well of most people that are light workers, empaths and stuff like that. And what this says to me is I think empaths are being really affected a lot by what's going on in the world. I think we can all feel this. It's just extraordinary, isn't it? And I just wanted to say we've got 1,261 people with us right now. So that's remarkable. So I think this is talking about the sensitivity as well. The moon deals with sensitivity and intuition, the emotions, as we know. So this really is talking about light workers. The obstacle card is the Knight of Cups reversed. So in a way, it's almost like we're dealing with all these false promises, the false knights, the people that come and say, yeah, we're going to fix stuff, but they don't. Yeah, they don't fix anything. And I think this is contributing to the anxiety that a lot of people are feeling in the world. But look, we have the High Priestess. So this is like the light workers and everyone really digging deep, digging deep. This is many people going deeper into their spiritual practice. But let's not forget too that basically since Duc Larange came to office, we've had so many people going deeper into their spirituality. Look at all of us here. Many of us began our channels because of who.
Yes.
So, so there is, it's almost like in response to the emotional ups and downs that we're all feeling and the false promises that have been broken, a lot of us, though, are deepening our spiritual practice. I've got the King of Wands reverse. So King of Wands, when it's the right way up, of course, deals with business, entrepreneurship, leadership and stuff like that. And I think also as well, what's bothering people is things to do with the economy. We've also noticing as well, these captains of industry. Have we been noticing how they've not been really turning out who we thought they were? This can also deal with your Jeff Bezos. This can deal with your Elon Musk. These are what? The King of Wands. Let me make sure it is. No! Oh, God, I'm talking rubbish. It's the King of Cups. I was like, wait a minute. My glasses aren't quite on. So here, again, so that speaks about what? Emotions. Again. So do you see how many cards are coming up in regards to the motions? And in terms of here, the Page of Wands, I've got Page of Wands reversed, but this is about messages. And I think this is like what you're saying. There is that saying of being, what is it? Being in the world, but not of the world.
Of the world.
Yeah. So it doesn't mean completely disconnecting, because we're all here human beings and we've all got our karmas to perform and stuff like that. But also understand that we are immortal, that what we're going through now is the biggest test for humanity, you know, because, okay, the USA is having their Pluto return, but the cray-cray is not only confined there, we're seeing it where? All over the world, because Pluto is going through Capricorn, which deals with governments, distribution systems, networks. It deals with corporations, huge structures. So it's all being reevaluated, and we have to ask ourselves as human beings, what are we going to do? So my tip from that is that try not to let it get to you too much, but still do your spiritual work, because when you raise your vibration, it actually helps other people, even if it doesn't look like it's working. There we are.
Yeah, when when the light keeps raising, then the darkness gets more crazy, because it's fighting its last hurrah and really trying to dig nails in. So the more cray-cray we see, know that we are, making progress. Yeah. The joy of the division.
Yeah, we are. Because the dark has to fight harder, doesn't it? If people are starting to, more and more people are starting to wake up, then what does the dark have to do? It has to try and suppress everyone even more, to stop people reaching that critical mass point.
Right.
And, and this is why we're seeing just absolutely madness happening in the world. I mean, we'll talk about Boris in a minute, but do you know what I mean? Like stuff that is outlandishly bad. Do you know what I mean? Because they're getting desperate.
Right. You can't hide it as much anymore. It's just, the more irritated the dark gets, because it can't take that higher vibration and element. So yeah, it's just going to get crazier. They can't hide it anymore.
Absolutely. And the mask is just slipping off.
Yeah.
It's just completely slipping off. Oh yeah, that was, one second. I just need to cross off here where I had Harry's question. Anyone would like to add anything else to that before we go to the next one?
Well, just generally, it's so important, excuse me, not to let the darkness take over your life in terms of pain and distress and feeling powerless. It's really important. Trust at this and fortify yourself. So when you're exposed to all the torment and horror that happens daily, that you can not seal yourself off and not take it in. If you're an empathetic person, you need to still have compassion. But to understand, you need to protect your integrity, your spiritual integrity every day, and then put out more light.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Because it does work. Believe it or not, guys. I can't remember what it is, but Dianne, you're very good with this stuff. But they say if one person starts vibrating at the frequency of love, it goes and it affects so many other people, and it raises them up as well.
They've done studies on this.
Yes.
Yes. And we can see what the heart vibrates at now. And, the amount of energy that each chakra gives off, we can actually measure now. It's not all just woo-woo. And it affects the next person. And it can have a healing effect, but it also heals them because it's raising their vibration. And so it's really important, like what Lena said, you have to still be in this world, right? I mean, you have to observe and see all this stuff. And you don't want to completely shut yourself off, but you still have to be able to function. So as an empath, you can't just sit there and absorb all of it and just lay in bed and never get up. You have to still keep your light going, because that's why you came down here.
Yes. We're at work.
Exactly. Even when we think we're not, we are.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's not in vain. Believe it or not, there is
True.
the churnings, but as that vibration goes up, the dark will try its best to push. But so in a way, it will feel like things are getting much worse on a certain level, but it's having to go to those extremes to try and suppress the light that's coming out of everyone. Because you can imagine now, millions upon millions of people are waking up around the world to our leaders, what they're all about, you know, again, for entertainment purposes only. But we are seeing this behavior naked on display. And we'll obviously have to talk a little about, you know, about the trolley in the UK. My British Prime Minister, who is just an absolute outrage. But what I wanted to ask is, because I wanted to see with the energy. So, and this was an older question, I think, from last week, but nonetheless, it's still interesting. So what do we see as the future of the USA and China relations? How that's going to work? Because really, in many ways, that is one of the other big themes going on, isn't it? Post-COVID and that. So I just wanted for us to pull on that, because I see that as
USA and China.
USA and China. I see that being like a three.
Well, this includes Australia, because we hang on the coattails of the USA in terms of every conflict, all the foreign
Thank you, Edie.
diplomatic missions and stuff are always in step with the USA, even when it's not in our best interest. So I'd just like to point that out. When we're talking about the USA and China, it also means Australia and China.
Let's weave that in as well. Okay, let's move this down. A lot of you here tonight, over 1,300 of you here tonight. So thank you guys, pardon me, so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. Thank you. All right. Oh, look at that. The card just leapt out. Okay. Oh, two.
I love that.
Wow. All right. I'll keep those. Two cards jumped out. So interesting.
I am all set to go.
Go for it.
Go.
All right. So the first card I get is one of my two cards for the US, the Empress. So I think, that just represents us. But here is our challenge. We haven't come up with a good strategy, so I don't think we have like a concrete plan on how to deal with China, and particularly with the lack of products. We're starting to see how quickly they can cripple us with a lack of what we need, a lack of goods being shipped. We are so dependent on them for a country that's so big, that has so many factories. It just boggles the mind. I think there's a lot that we don't know. I think there's things that we're disillusioned about. I think we need to start being honest with ourselves about this whole thing. We need to make better judgment calls. I don't take this as the other meaning where it's like rebirth and revitalization, because I pulled one card as a clarifier. Wow. And it's like the poverty card. And so I think we need to actually pay attention to this and give it the attention it deserves now to prevent what I think a lot of us have seen coming, which is going to be a real shortage of supplies.
Which is what we've been talking about for a while, isn't it, Dianne?
Right.
Like on HoDiGas and other shows that we've been on, we've been talking about this really for a long time. Who would like to go next, Lena or Lady G?
Oh, I'll go. It's interesting. I haven't worked with these cards for a long time, and I forgot how much I love them. We have the Ace of Swords, which in this case is a bat in a diamond shape. Don't you love it? And I think in many ways this represents that. If you think about bats, I love bats. We have lots of bats in Australia. And so I think this represents China and people trying to clip the wings of China in some way. But the West knows nothing about China, and China knows a lot about the West. Okay. So until we know more, we will have no influence whatsoever on what China thinks, says, or does. Okay, so I think that's the primary point. This bears out what Dianne was saying with the Nine of Pentacles, the merchant card. So big capitalism in the 80s and 90s were very busy closing down every factory in Australia, the US, everywhere else that manufactured, gave it all away. And then now we're stamping our feet going, oh, we get everything from China. And if they pull the plug, we cannot just magically open those factories again. So they have all the commercial cards that the West does not have. Now, the next two cards, we've got the High Priestess, which is always interesting. And that's what I was saying about the deep and abiding mystery that is China. And China will always play the long game undercover.
Yeah.
And so while we're worried about what's happening next Wednesday, there's a completely different vision going on in China. And the final card is it's an ongoing chess game. And it's like we're up against the masters.
Master players.
We are really the pawns in this game, I think, to some extent, until we have better knowledge and respect for the power of China. And then the irony is, I think in time we can soften some of China's harsher edges. Some of the more positive things from the West can go to China only if we are grown up enough to actually look at what's really going on and not just react to stereotypes.
Fascinating. Lady G, what do you have?
Well, what I have is, first we have the magician. So using all the tools at your disposal, but it can also be the card of manipulation. Okay. So they manipulate the things. We have, the higher ideals. We want to go forward to better things, but this can also be my card for the ones like Putin, 45, that type of mentality that we have, the strong man, like Xi Jinping as well.
So the limelight.
We're dealing with that. Also, the pain of this situation. Now, in China, too, if you have an American company, you have to have the company in China, and they control a lot of that stuff. They take our information and then retool it and sell it. So we have that going on. So in the end, we just need to be strong, and we need to look at this rationally, realistically, and go forward. Yeah, not easy dealing with China.
Yeah.
And also the human rights abuses in China should be addressed.
Right.
Like the Uyghurs and so many other issues and repression of opinion. But at the same time, we are under a delusion that we live in free countries when we talk endlessly in our political work about what's really going on here and the Supreme Court and everything else. Like, who are we all to point fingers?
And I would add to that, that is so much of what this Pluto return is all about. Because
it's all about that.
It's all about that. My analogy for Pluto is, I say, Pluto is like your next door neighbor's cat dropping a maggoty rat on your bed and go, deal with it. This is what I'm bringing up for you, yeah? And we all go, yeah? And Pluto's a funny planet because it is like in the mythology, he was the first child consumed by Kronos and the last one out. So what in the way one can look at that is Pluto is one of the most subconscious planets. It's the first planet we repress in our charts. And it's the first planet that we project onto other people. It's It's really, really interesting, really interesting. And I just want to say thank you for the donations as well. For 1,400 of you, I'm going to quickly get my answer in, and then let's end up with Boris Johnson, who we just... Oh my God. So what did I get? In this question, this relationship between China and America, I get the Hierophant. So what's the Hierophant? We know a Hierophant is about what? Authority figures, rules, regulations, traditions, you know, stuff like that. So we know that China, and look, we don't just want this to be a China bash. Look, every culture goes through its different leaderships and stuff like that. Let's not forget China has a 5,000-year continuous history. Yeah, written history for 5,000 years, and then umpteen others of oral tradition and stuff like that. So when they look at our midterm kind of things or our political cycles, they're like, yeah, it's nothing. It's nothing. Like Lena said, they play the longer game. So here, but also as well, China is still a very traditional country, very patriarchal. This can represent the patriarchy as well, but it's more than that. It's a history that comes with that as well. In the obstacle position, we've got the Queen of Swords. So we know the Queen of Swords, when she's the right way up, talks about rationality, fair play, you know, law and justice. But look, it's reversed. So it can mean overthinking. It can mean even spite and cruelty. So there is that element here, particularly in the West, where we are seeing actually quite, you know, how can I say, things that we find unsavory. Let's put it that way. Let's not forget as well, they're still in major lockdowns, by the way. I wouldn't want to be in Shanghai right now.
No.
Yeah, I really wouldn't. I really wouldn't. But here, sort of echoing a bit like of what Lena was saying, look, we've got the Six of Cups here reversed. Now, when the card's the right way up, it deals, you know, with family and sweetness and a little bit of nostalgia and cupcakes and stuff like that. But when it's reversed, this can be almost... It echoes to the approach that the West has had to China in the past. Like you said, it was all outsourced. And now look, everyone's getting nostalgic. Oh, we want our factories back. We want this back and that back. And it's like, well, maybe we shouldn't have just absolutely sold out the average worker, hook, line and sinker, so we could get, you know, cheaper labor. And
under Reagan and Thatcher.
Right. Absolutely. Right. These seeds, because if we think about it, particularly if we think about American politics, but also, you know, UK politics and much of the West, there's this longing, this nostalgia. Have you noticed this toxic nostalgia trying to go back to a time where everything was all good? And it's like, well, maybe all of that work shouldn't have been outsourced. People would have still had decent jobs. Yes, things would have been expensive, but we wouldn't have had whole communities just hollowed out. Yeah. So if we look here, look at this. This is like, in a way, China battling and the USA battling and the whole world. If we look at this, it's almost like everyone is trying to battle for their position, particularly in regards to what happened with COVID, supply chain issues. It's all discombobulated, isn't it? We're all scrapping for our little bit of ground or whatnot. And I don't think it's necessarily working out so well, because if we look here, the outcome card here is the Three of Swords, and that says it all for itself. So we're in this very awkward time in our history. Pluto's dredging everything up. China, of course, is a legitimate bona fide superpower that overall is getting stronger. Yes, they're going a bit too cray-cray with the lockdowns, but we know their trajectory. So I think this is making the West and America in particular feel very uncomfortable. So I think it's the case of, like what Lena was saying, we need to get to know China better and maybe give that situation a bit more respect. Although we still need to tackle those human rights abuses and stuff like that. Do you see, it's quite a conundrum. Anyway, quite a conundrum. Anything you would like to add to that, folks, before we talk about Boris Johnson? And look, a card has just leapt out. Stinky fish leapt out.
I'm moving to the circus cards for Boris.
Absolutely. Let's talk about the trolley, yeah, as Dominic Cummings would refer to Boris Johnson. And as you know, we read a lot on the States, but let me tell you, you are not the only ones going through some stuff right now. Boris Johnson is an absolutely ludicrous, craven, nakedly corrupt, morally bankrupt. I've run out of words to describe this man. And what he's done recently, because, you know, we've had the Partygate scandals. We're talking vomit up the walls, red wine splashed on floors, DJ parties, licentiousness and almost debauchery, shall we say, while we were in lockdown. Yeah, all of that. We've just had the Sue Gray report come out, where the senior civil servant has basically got to try and take her boss to task. And now it's emerged that other ministers tried to water it down in the civil service. And on top of that, Boris Johnson has just changed the ministerial code, which means if you break your vows and your promises, he's saying you shouldn't have to resign. And this has outraged a lot of people, even the Tory ministers who need to get rid of him. And they need 55 letters of no confidence to get rid, for this to start to happen. And at the moment, they're around about 24. So I just wanted to give that background. What is the future of the trolley, or the mop, as I would like to refer to it?
For those who aren't familiar with Boris, his own father relinquished his UK citizenship and moved to France because he was so embarrassed by Boris.
It's just astonishing. And
what's the question?
So what's the energy around Boris? Because we're not sure if he's going to go or if he's going to hold out. Just what's the energy around Boris?
Boris.
So we might just slightly go over the hour, but so if we can be swift, shall we say, and then we can try and keep it in. He says when I'm the one who often talks the most. Sorry. Sorry about that, but I'm the host, you know. Right. So who is ready to go?
I can go.
Brilliant. Okay, go for it.
My cards are interesting because I don't know like as much about him as I, do the American politics. So I'll let you be the judge of this.
Go for it.
So right now he's not too happy. He's not in a great place. 5 of Cups. He's sort of grieving. I think things are starting to hit home with him. His obstacle is that he's not very strong or courageous. There's no inner strength to pull from. That well is empty, which is not good when you're feeling like this. So he is busy trying to juggle things. He's just trying to balance everything that's going on in his life, but he's feeling super emotional about everything. And the reason I was like, okay, I'm not quite sure what's going on here, because he ends up with the Justice card, which usually pops up in readings for me when somebody has a legal battle that they're about to go through. So that's why I'm like, okay, wait, is there something more? Like, okay, this isn't an issue that's just going to go away. People are going to be pressing forward for him to actually go to court.
Wow. You are absolutely bang on. The reason why he's tried to change the rules is because he's going to be going in front of the Select Committee, which is going to establish formally that if he lied to Parliament, knowingly lied to Parliament, and even with him diluting down the rules, he would still have to go. So he's about to face some legal scrutiny and is trying to save his skin. So your cards are spot on. Who would like to go next? Lady G or Lady G? Yeah, do you want to go next maybe?
Sure, I can go next. Well, I found a reversal. Now, I never get reversal cards, but we've got the 8 of Cups reversed. So not so easy to walk away from this time, which you would like to do. And they're going to be sitting more with what the things he's been offering, the things he's been doing. They're going to take it in more. with all his illusion and the drama he's putting out there, the Seven of Cups, you know, with all his partying and all the other things he's been involved with. And the end point is coming to the end, and they are going to pick a new direction.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Wow. Lena, what do you have?
I love this. This is Boris day to day. It's fine. Everything's fine. I can do this. I may not be able to do my hair, but I can do the rest, right?
The trolley.
The trolley, right? And so here we have the entrance to the circus. So it's like it's the doorway to the circus, because for American viewers and those who aren't used to the UK, it's like the Conservative parties or your GOP, and in the UK, it's an absolute literal circus. Come in, pay your money and come into the circus. However, the Five of Wands, which is always about circular conflict, they are fighting each other behind the scenes going, we can't defend him anymore. This is exhausting. We are losing in all the little mini elections leading into the big one. We have to get rid of him. I think the only real conversation left is, how do we get rid of him? Because the final card is he's being wheeled out in a wheelbarrow.
Love it.
They have to get rid of him if they're even going to go to the polls next time. So I think these cards speak.
Wow.
In relation.
They
to
really
Boris,
do.
who I often refer to as Yeti 2.
Yeah, he is. He's Yeti number 2. And to give you some insight as well, Lena, based on just what you said, they've just run a poll. Out of the 88 seats that are kind of tricky ones for the Conservatives to hold, they said if by-elections were run in those seats today, they would only be able to hold on to 83. Three out of the 88 seats. So they would basically lose them all, including Boris would lose even his own seat. So let's see if that wheelbarrow comes through. Now, here we are. We're just 2 minutes over the hour, so I'm going to quickly whip through mine. Here we are, 4 of Pentacles reversed. This is literally Boris trying to hold on like a barnacle, yeah, to his job, yeah. There he is, sitting there, not wanting to kind of let go. In regards to what we have got here, what's that? We have got the 6 of Pentacles here. In regards to what? The monies, the exchanges, because he's also received bribes and all of that kind of stuff. And look, this card has come in the obstacle position, the 6 of Pentacles. So it's talking about the money changing hands and stuff like that. Here, the Knight of Pentacles, again, Boris not wanting to move, being stubborn, all of the hooves on the ground. He's been discovered as lying and dissembling, but he's still there, shameless hussy that he is. Yeah.
I haven't heard that for a while. Shameless hussy.
I love it.
I could use stronger words, but that's, do you know what I mean?
That's a good one.
An absolute you know what. So here he is, really now he's really hunkered down, because look, it's the Hermit card, but it's reversed. So he's feeling paranoid. He is digging, pulling, probably reading and casting spells, chewing herbs or anything like that to try and keep his position. I've never seen a man so craven in my whole life. And then we've got the Knight of Wands here, but it came out reversed, so he doesn't feel like he can move forward. He thought that Rishi Sunak giving his positive news about the cost of living crisis and putting some money in would put a line under it, and that he could charge ahead, but no, he's stuck. He's quagmired because of the shameless person that he is. So we will see what happens there. Would anyone like to add anything? Because we've just gone over the hour, and I don't want it to be too long.
No, that was fabulous, and thank you everyone in the comments for persevering with the trolls.
Yes,
absolutely.
It was
And
a very
as far
difficult chat
as-
for you. So hopefully it'll be sorted out for next time. So thank you for persevering.
And as far as this Celtic Viking that wants to come here and debate politics, as usual, it's the repugly ugly version of distraction from hearing what's going on here. So take your distraction with you down the road. That little thing you are.
Indeed. And Diane, any closing words before I wrap the show?
I'm just sending our trolls love and light.
Indeed. Love, light, cupcakes. Listen, folks, we're all here in spirit at the end of the day. You can call it this side and that side, but when we get to the other side, when we're no longer here, we look back and go, oh my God, was I really concerned about that? So listen, I just say love and blessings to everyone out there. There's far more important things. I think this was a fabulous show. Thank you, ladies, so much for joining us. So Diane, Lady G, and of course, Lena. And we will wrap the show there until next week. I think we've got up to 1,400 of you joined us today. So that really is remarkable. So thank you, guys.
For a
We
holiday
really
weekend.
appreciate exactly. So we really appreciate that. And we really appreciate the love and support. We know that this show really means a lot to people, and you mean a lot to us. So thank you for joining in. You will see us next week. And as a closing thing, ABBA. Yeah, there is good in the world. The vibes were incredible. And I was taking those vibes and spreading them all around the whole world. So there is still light in the world, everyone. Don't worry. We will make it. All right. Until next time. See you all.
Bye.
Cheers. Bye-bye.